This CAP video interview is sponsored by the next biggest launch in online gambling. Want to learn more? To find out more and register for a chance to win one of 5 iPhone 5s and get special access to a premier gambling affiliate network, go to casinoaffiliateprograms.com/invite or just scan the QR code on your screen. Thanks and enjoy the video interview.
Hey everyone, it's Warren Jolly with CasinoAffiliatePrograms.com, and I want to welcome you to today's interview with Randy Layman, who happens to be a very well known and respected poker affiliate. I've actually known Randy myself for quite a few years, and have seen him and his business evolve. He began his career in affiliate marketing like many of the other poker affiliates, specifically playing poker during the moneymaker boom. Randy's worn many hats in the industry, which we'll get to a little bit later, but today we'll chat about Felt Media, company that Randy owns, which specializes really in SEO, marketing consulting, as well as web design and site development, and is even known to do a few political campaigns, which I'll let Randy elaborate about as well. But for now, Randy's really focused on developing web apps and software that helps webmasters increase their conversions and have more control over their websites. Randy's here today to just talk a bit about what his experiences have been in the industry and what's made him successful. Randy, it's great to have you today.
Thanks, Warren. It's great to be here.
So you've had a really seasoned and impressive career in iGaming and spanned many years. Just to start out, can you tell our audience a little bit about your history as an iGaming affiliate, as well as your own personal background?
Sure. It started about like a lot of affiliates back in the moneymaker boom. Started playing some poker, watching a lot of poker, got really into poker, joined a couple poker forums, and played a lot of poker, and then I worked in the corporate world for a good part of my life doing legal work, consulting, regulatory compliance type stuff. I'm just one of those guys that I always want to do better and find new things. And I'm not really a handy guy. I'm not a handyman type guy. I can't build a birdhouse for crying out loud. But, I wanted to find some kind of hobby I could do. So I got into little bit of web design using, Lycos, tripod, things like that, really easy point and click stuff. And, the more I got to play in poker, the more, I had some friends at that time. I used to run a poker forum called tightpoker.com. Back in the moneymaker days, that was one of the largest, most active sites for, like a poker portal type thing.
Yep.
And, I got to know the owner a little bit, and, I realized there's a lot of money in that, and I've got a pretty big family, and extra money's always good. So I started looking at ways to make a poker site. I'd won quite a few decent sized tournaments, so I had a lot of friends that played poker. So we started talking about poker strategy, that kind of thing, and eventually it evolved into building a website, focused around tournament poker and some cash games and sit and goes, and just kind of grew from there, so a lot like, most poker affiliates, I started out as a poker player.
Got it. And what was your first website that you launched?
It was a site called Ridge Poker. And, a lot of people on the forums and stuff call me Ridge. Yep. The place where I live up in the Ozark Mountains, and everybody around this area calls it the Ridge. So that's how I kind of come up with that name, and built that site out. And, of course, I didn't know a whole lot of what I was doing. Just did, the best I could. I tried to make a decent design and just focused on, the content. So.
And so how did you make the evolution from like working in the legal field to just jumping into online marketing? Is it just something that kind of caught your eye from just playing poker, or did you have an interest? What was your transition like?
Well, I think it was really, I wanted to make more money more than anything, to be honest with you. And so, while I was still working in the corporate world, and anybody that's worked in, corporate America or anywhere really nowadays, you just never feel secure in your job no matter what your position is. Even though I worked for some great companies over the years, and the company I worked with last is, a large billion-dollar company, I wanted to make sure that, if the next, major issue happened in the world, I wouldn't be out on my butt, so to speak, and not have an income. I just, I don't ever want to be poor again. Was kind of my whole thing. So, I did the website thing on the side and did my corporate job. And the more I got into that, the more I just really thought that, maybe that's what I really wanted to do with myself.
So a lot of people that come to us and that are watching these interviews as well are in that exact situation that you were in before you made the evolution. I mean, what's the one thing that you did in the beginning, whether it was hiring someone on an outsourced basis to build a website for you or learning HTML? What's the one thing that you did initially that really gave you the momentum to be able to be successful, as basic as it may be?
Yeah, I think reaching out to people that I saw that were successful was probably the best thing I ever did. Finding some people that didn't mind giving me advice and, kind of mentoring me, and just reading everything there was on places like CAP and back at that point, Jeremy owned Party Riches, which was just a wealth of information, and GPWA, and just, forums, communities, blog posts, because it was still a small industry back then, but you could see, there was, big money in it, big CPAs. Back then, anybody in the world could put money on a poker site. It wasn't like it is today. PayPal, you could put money on a poker site. So, it seemed like a fresh kind of booming industry. I mean, we all know what the boom was like back in the good old days. I think really just finding places, to talk to people that knew more about it than me, because I really just, I was a poker player first, and so just finding people that knew more about the business side of it.
Got it. Really. So I know you found huge value in securing mentors when you were just first starting out, and I happen to know some of your mentors as well personally. Who were your mentors? Where did you find them, and why were they so important to your success?
Well, like I said, I found them on, poker forums, actually, and I've told this story a lot to people that know me. Randy Ray, who's been a big influence in my life personally and professionally. I think I met him, actually. He posted on the forum wanting somebody to build some sites specifically using Front Page, which is one of the only programs I knew how to use at the time. I didn't really have a whole lot of HTML or coding experience, but I had a copy of Front Page. So I talked to him, and I think he was offering like $75. And to me at that time, $75 was, that's some good money. That I could do a lot with $75 back then. Because I remember when I started, $200 for a template seemed way too high. I wasn't really making any money doing it. So having to justify spending any money to my wife was, so that gave me a chance to build, a site, make a little money that I could reinvest. And, he gave me the job, to build these couple sites, and told me exactly what he wanted. And I went ahead and did it. And then he came back and said, well, I kind of wanted this like this, and I wanted to do this because of this. And I thought he was kind of crazy at first. I was thinking, who the hell is this guy? I know what I'm doing. I've built a site before. And so I went ahead and made the changes. And then I asked him, I said, well, why are you having it done like this? And I started doing a little research on who this guy was. And turns out, he was really well known as an SEO and in the iGaming space. Did consulting for, poker stars, which, to me, that just put him above everybody else I knew in the industry. I didn't know anybody that worked with a big multi-billion-dollar room at that time. Now they're a billion-dollar room. So I just started asking questions, and he started just kind of, giving me some tips and clues, and kind of gave me the why he wanted certain things done. And, thankfully I was smart enough at that time to shut up and listen. And then it was kind of, fostered into a nice friendship past that.
Great. Yeah, Randy's definitely a great guy. What do you think your biggest successes were as an affiliate throughout the evolution of your career?
The biggest success, I'd say, is just, some of the sites I've built, while they made a lot of money, the money was good, of course, but actually, being able to create something that people, that helped people, that people enjoyed, and creating a resource. One of my old sites, which I don't have anymore, was a site called Belt Poker, and we built up a nice tight-knit community there in the forums, and it's friendships that I still have to this day, even though I don't own the site. And most everybody's not so much playing poker anymore, but we've met up in casinos and things like that. And just over the years, building those friendships, building those connections, that's probably the best thing I've done, for business and personally too, because it's people from all walks of life, from all over the world, all different backgrounds, and it's just great to build those kind of friendships. And some of them have turned into business partnerships and things. So it's easily one of the best things that could have happened to me.
Very nice. So you've really built some key relationships that kind of you'll carry forward with you for the rest of your life. That's really impressive, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. So, I know you're really active in the forums and just the general iGaming affiliate community. What do you think are the three most common mistakes that affiliates keep making, and what can they do to prevent making them in the future?
I'd say probably the first mistake is trying to do too much. Simply just trying to be a major site when they don't have the budget or the experience for it. If people want to jump into the market and look at a site like poker listings or poker news or something like that, and what they don't understand is those are $1 million businesses with large staffs with a large budget, and you don't have to be that to make money more than anything. But if you expend all that effort even trying to get there, then you're missing out on the low hanging fruit, so to speak. There's a lot easier ways to build a good resource without investing millions or having a big staff or trying to be an everything kind of site.
Sure.
I think another issue is just trying to do too many things and not focusing on one thing. And I've been guilty of this so many times. If I see a good domain, I'll buy it, I'll start building a site, and then I start neglecting other projects. And one of the best things I've been able to do is learn how to focus a little better on what I'm trying to do and actually set goals to that. And then don't get involved in a dozen different things because if you spread yourself around too much, you're not going to do well at anything. And some people can do that better than others, but personally, I have to focus a little bit, and I do get it gets monotonous sometimes if you're writing 10 articles a day or constantly dealing in poker. But I keep it down to 2 or 3 projects and try to focus and set goals for those. So that's a big one. And then the other one is I think people need to be careful what they can't believe everything they read on forums. And it took me a long time to understand that, and not that people are intentionally misleading people, but you're on poker forums, you're on the internet. Sometimes you don't know if people are just blowing smoke, or even though they've seen something that's worked and they're passing it on, and it's great to give out good advice and stuff. Sometimes there's some other factors in that they don't consider, and I've seen a lot of bad advice on forums and blogs and things, and sometimes you just kind of got to do it yourself and test what works. A good buddy of mine on the PAL forums, MJ, he said something several times that I always stuck with me. Sometimes he'll just throw things against the wall and see what sticks, and then he'll focus in a little more. And that's kind of what you have to do sometimes. Because if you just try and, what works for my business and what works for maybe what I'm going for may not be right for you, So that's a few things right there I think
Great.
Everybody pay attention to.
I would have to agree with all three of those, so thanks for that advice. In terms of driving traffic, obviously, I think this is the biggest challenge that affiliates always have is, hey, I've built a website, I've signed up for affiliate programs, I've written content, I've done everything I need to do. Why am I not getting any traffic? So I'd like to ask you, Randy, first of all, what methods did you deploy to drive traffic? I know SEO was a big one for you. Is there anything else besides that? And, how did you make it successful for yourself? Again, if it was SEO or any other forms of traffic driving, what was it that really helped you get that going and being able to drive the depositing players into the rooms?
Yeah, traffic, and to me, traffic is one of the easiest things to do. And I'm not talking, 10,000 visits a day or even 500, but, what I found, dealing with clients and dealing with friends and my own sites is, even back when I didn't know what I was doing at all, I didn't have a problem so much getting, little traffic, 20, 30, 50 visits a day. It was converting that traffic. But the best thing to do for traffic, and everybody knows this, is, content. But what happens a lot is people kind of get into that rut. They see poker news doing poker news articles, and they see strategy sites doing strategy. And, you kind of got to do something a little different. There's a lot of recycled content on, thousands of poker sites. So you need to find your own little angle and what works for you. For example, while we do some strategy and reviews and things like that, I like to do top 10 lists, for or top 5 lists, or, 3 mistakes that, every poker player makes, or, 5, reasons to avoid playing some kind of game. Things like that people, they know exactly what they're getting in the title. You give them, 3, 5, 10 things to do. Things like that tend to get shared more, on sites. They tend to get, a better, people reading them more, more page views. Everybody's got reviews. Everybody's got bonus pages. Everybody's got all that kind of standard generic stuff. So if you can find something a little bit interesting, a little bit unique, that's going to help you build more traffic. So that's everything.
So really, predominantly for you, it's been SEO as a strategy, and I think you mentioned social media as well. I mean, are those the 2 things that you've used, or did you ever do any paid media like PPC or media buying, or was it predominantly SEO and social media?
For gaming, I kind of started post PPC, back when, everything first started going. I hear these great stories about people being able to do, pay for clicks and things like that. I never had a chance to do a lot of that. When I started, even though I was working in the corporate world, we didn't have a lot of extra money. So, I was always working on a minimal budget.
Sure.
So I never did PPC. So it was always, and even when I started, social media really wasn't the thing it is now. Facebook was, not even a blip on the map back when I started. MySpace was there, but I never, maybe I was just too old for MySpace. Hell, I don't know. I never got into MySpace much. So it's really just, good content, sharing on forums and stuff, and, telling my friends locally about things, because a lot of my family and stuff, was into poker, and, we have our home games, and a lot of my friends, and everybody was watching it on ESPN. So, you're talking the height of everything, where, you said poker and people knew you were talking about, ESPN, Texas Hold'em type stuff. So just really doing some content and things like that is really, where I always build my traffic.
Got it. And did you write your content yourself in the beginning, or did you have writers?
Yeah, mostly me. My wife helped a lot. She actually been playing poker longer than me. She grew up playing poker, so she's just always been into that stuff. And I remember the first time I ever played poker was on Paradise Poker, and she stuck me $50 on there after I watched, Moneymaker. I said, hell, I could do that. And she stuck $50 on there for me, and I think she got a $50 bonus. And, I didn't hardly mess with the internet at all back then. And I went to play later that night, and she had lost it all. So,
Nice.
so started from there, and I ended up playing on Paradise and stuff. But
Got it. Okay. So, I mean, let's touch on SEO just really briefly. You managed to rank for some pretty competitive money terms around PokerStars, I know, as well as Party Poker. So this is obviously a really competitive side of poker SEO. A lot of affiliates are trying to rank for these, what we call money terms. And for those of you watching who don't know what a money term is, it's essentially really the keywords that convert into depositing players at a high ratio. If you rank for a term and it's not driving depositors, it really doesn't do you a whole lot good as an affiliate. So one of the things you mentioned, Randy, is you've never really spent a lot of time or money on link building, which I find really interesting. A lot of affiliates try to go get links, and that's what they obsess about. And you focused on SEO, just with your elbow grease, the content creation, any social media you've done. Tell me why you decided not to do link building or ever focus on it, and what were some of the results that you were able to achieve?
Well, and as I said earlier, I never had a big budget, so even if I wanted a bunch of links, I couldn't afford it. Just plain, when I first started, I did link exchanges, and every once in a while I'd find a link, or I'd write an article for a friend on their site and get a link back, and that's more of the link building kind of stuff I did. I've never really had a big budget for link building, while it's an important factor, I think especially now, and we might get into that a little later, but so many links are just being devalued and have no value at all. I still see a lot of people wasting a ton of money buying links that aren't doing them any good.
Okay.
So, it's not so much, links are good. If you can get good quality links, great. It's just such a narrow market right now to find good links. And, So,
but rather than buying links or going out and acquiring them through link exchanges, I mean, obviously, for you to be able to rank for these money terms that are highly competitive, you were probably getting links organically. So how do you think you were able to get those links just coming to you?
right. Well, and one of the ways was, I said earlier, writing some kind of unique content. You know, 5 ways you can make an extra $100 a day doing this or something like that. If you can find kind of some unique content like that or some link bait kind of content, it tends to get linked more.
Okay.
We did a series on PokerStars Double or Nothing tournament games when they came out as a good example. And we did an ebook and 10 articles, did a whole email campaign with it. And it ended up getting a lot of natural links from, 2+2, several blogs, other affiliate sites, forums, things like that. And that was all organic. We didn't pay for any of that. But we wrote something, and it was really game specific. It was, something real focused that people were into. I don't think they do the Double or Nothing tournaments anymore, but we still get a lot of traffic for those terms and a lot of people signing up for the ebook and things like that. But if you can write good content like that, you'll actually get some natural links. And I hear people say, you can't get organic links in the gaming industry, and that's just, it's not easy. But really, I mean, it's not easy in any market. But if you can write some good content, you can get some natural links, and those are a lot more powerful than your paid links and things of that nature.
Got it. So it sounds like you almost obsessed about creating high quality content that kind of made you different than all your other competitors out there, which a lot of people tend not to do. So good to hear that. So in terms of just, you were talking about some of the terms, just out of curiosity, I mean, what were the highest traffic terms or maybe the most competitive terms you ranked for? Could you share a couple of examples with our audience, just again,
Sure.
to understand the results you were able to achieve?
Probably a common one would be like PokerStars bonus code, PokerStars marketing code, and a lot of PokerStars and party terms like that. And I want to be clear, because I've had a lot of people say, hey, you're just bonus code hunting and, poaching players and things like that. But it really wasn't the intent initially. It was really just trying to provide if you've got a site like PokerStars that's, super competitive, but a lot of people still play there, you got to find some different angles to go at it. And, I've seen sites that, are just built around, specific rooms like that have 50 articles, and it's, basically targeting every single term like that. And that's kind of a way you can kind of bypass the whole having to link build and get some of that low-hanging fruit is to try and get the oddball terms. A good example would be the PokerStars radio. Believe it or not, I started getting a lot of searches for PokerStars radio bonus code. I don't even think they had a radio bonus code, but once I saw searches for that, we wrote an article and it included, hey, this is your PokerStars radio bonus code, and, converted like crazy. And if you can get some of those terms, I hear too, a common misconception is that everybody in the world has a PokerStars or Party Poker account, and they're not worth promoting. And that's simply not true. I know just a couple of years ago, or within the last year and a half before, got to keep in mind I sold a lot of my sites earlier in this year. But at one time, I was getting, 20, 30 signups a day for PokerStars and more sometimes for Party Poker. So, that's a lot of new players coming in. So the market's saturated, sure, but there's still a lot of players wanting to play there. There's new people playing poker every day. So,
Okay. That's really insightful. Thanks for that. In terms of just, SEO in general, I know part of your business at Felt Media is consulting, and you work with some companies on the SEO consulting side. What has that taught you, just in terms of that experience, and also what advice can you share with other casino poker affiliates as it relates to Google Panda, Google Penguin?
Yeah, consulting for different, affiliate companies and poker rooms and things like that is just, it's an awesome experience because you get to see it kind of, and anytime, me and you, poker, I always learn something that I didn't think of, didn't know about, wouldn't have thought of otherwise. Um, so, working and talking to different people like that, it's just a great way to find new angles on things. And, you always got to be constantly learning. If you put the blinders on today and don't learn anything for a month or two, you're going to be way behind on the game. That's any market. It's not just the affiliate market or the gaming market. Whether it's dating, fitness, you name it. Things change rapidly on the internet. And I'm sure all y'all know that, but it's just something to keep in mind. What was the other part of your question? I'm sorry.
That's all right. So as far as it comes to relates to Google Penguin and Panda, obviously your key forte is SEO, and you're working with other companies on SEO as well. What can you say about Penguin and Panda that other affiliates may not be thinking about or may not realize?
Well, and I think the common theme of it all is, Google's intent was to kind of push out some of the garbage sites, some of the sites that we've all built that are just kind of geared towards the search engines for one reason or the other, and I think it hurt a lot of webmasters. And, I did have some sites affected, and I saw some major sites affected. It was a real kick in the pants to a lot of people because, it's not perfect. The algo changes weren't perfect. But the overall intent was to, focus a little more on quality and less on, just the kind of the keyword stuffing type things and, just the low quality content. And really, while there's a lot of people affected, there's a lot of people that weren't, super affected by it. If your whole intent when you're building a site, if you keep asking yourself, is this a good page? Is this what they're going to be looking for? If somebody comes to my site looking for, an honest Poker Stars versus Party Poker comparison, does this give them the information they want? If you just ask yourself those questions while you're writing a page or where you're approving a page, if you have writers, just keep kind of being an honest critic of yourself and your sites and keep that in mind and be harsh on yourself sometimes. I've wrote content and I've had my wife read it and she'll be like, this is junk, and she'll go back and edit it and fix it. And I need that sometimes because, I know what I can put that'll get by with the search engine, but sometimes, I don't think, am I providing concise information for the user and really providing something that needs to be there other than just another generic page because, I think I have to have a review or I have to have a bonus code page.
Sure.
We all kind of get in ruts sometimes and we just kind of put our blinders on and say, well, I've got to have, 10 room reviews up and 10 bonus code pages and 10 promotion pages and a deposit page. Sometimes you just need to look at it and say, is that really the quality I want to put out there,
So kind of in summary on that, on both of those updates, what's the one thing that you would say every affiliate should be doing as it relates to these two updates to prevent their sites from getting either hit or, I guess damaged by the update in terms of the SERPs or to be able to recover if they've already been hit?
I think that I can give you two big things that I've seen, and I've seen it work well. And I think the biggest things is going through your old pages, rereading them, making sure they're updated, making sure the information is current, make sure it reads well. And then the second thing is to date your pages. And I see a lot of people still not doing that. If you update a page, somewhere on there you should have an updated on this date, and because Google does see that. And, we know a couple of years ago they were moving towards, real-time search results. They wanted to give up-to-date information. They were pulling Twitter data, which I know they're no longer doing. But they've got their own thing in place now. They want to look at pages and see if this page from 5 years ago, 5 months ago, or 5 days ago. So if you update a page, if you create a new page, date that page. And even if you make just a small revision, you need to make sure it's got an updated date. And it's a simple thing to do, and it tells you when you last updated it, tells the search engines, and not just Google, but Bing, and all of them look at that, and users look at that. They don't know if that information is current. So if you've got a page with some information as a player, I want to know how valid is this information? When was it last updated? So that's a couple simple things right there. Just go through your content, making sure it's updated, give it a date.
Oh, those are great. Thank you for that. And I agree. I think, from a user, I think the search engines are starting to really think of like a user. So from a usability standpoint, those tips mean a lot too. So definitely helpful. I know one of the other things that you really focus on and that you've been tinkering around with is just testing in terms of conversion testing or split testing. What have you done there, and what's been kind of the craziest thing that you've ever tested that's worked?
Well, testing is one of those things that can make all the difference in the world. For the first few years, I was really doing websites and stuff. I didn't test a whole lot. I'd put a site up. If it wasn't converting, then I'd just try something else and wouldn't really do much with the page. And then, the more involved, really smart people got in just affiliate marketing and the web overall, they started coming up with all kinds of testing and split testing tools and things like that. And, it wasn't too long where I saw some good split tests that I could, recreate, try them out. And, just the smallest things make huge difference in terms of conversions. Button color, the button text, the call to action text, and things like that. And sometimes if you're getting traffic to a page and they're not converting, there's a reason, and it's not hard to figure out, what you can do different, because even just a 5-10% increase in conversions can, really put some more money in the bank.
Sure.
So, some things I've done is we've created some plugins. We're still developing a lot of WordPress apps and plugins. I'm not a programmer, so I can do some basic stuff. I can do some CSS, but I'm not a programmer or a designer. So I needed help to be able to control my website a little bit more. So we come up with an app that lets me put up a nice call to action for a product or a room, and lets me, test any variation of button color, button text, things like that. So, I remember for years I had download now for a call to action on poker rooms and stuff. And, what I found out over the years is inherently people distrust things on the internet. We all know that. And they really distrust downloading something from a website they're on for the first time. Even though I was sending them to an affiliate site to download it, from their point of view, it looked like I was telling them to download something from my site. So, changing downloads now to, claim your bonus now, huge increase in conversions. And same with the button color, red doesn't convert as well as blue. Green doesn't convert as well as black. And, just little things like that you learn. And of course, every site's different. Every market's different. But just split testing is just a huge part of what every webmaster should be doing. And, small changes can make a huge difference.
Very helpful. Thank you. And I know you kind of mentioned earlier in the interview you have a big family. And if I understand correctly, you must be a master of time management. I mean, you've got a family with 6 kids, you run your own websites, and you manage a consulting business. How in the world do you make this happen? I mean, when do you sleep? What's the system you use? I mean, share your secret with us.
Well, I left the corporate world a couple of years ago. My last day in the corporate world was on Black Friday, April 15th, 2011.
Congratulations.
Well, it was a hell of a day. I really thought the whole internet was playing a prank on me.
Couldn't pick a better day, huh?
Oh, I know. And I just, and at the time, I was doing consulting. I was working for a company, running my own business, and I was working, in the corporate world. So I was basically balancing 3 jobs, sleeping very little, and not spending the kind of time, I wanted to with my family. We were making a lot of money, which was great, but as anybody knows, money just don't. At the end of the day, your kids don't really care if you're, got a lot of money or not, as long as they got, a roof and some toys, and or if you got teenagers like I do, cars and things like that, then they're pretty happy. So it didn't take too long, and I figured out that there was more to it. So I left corporate world and just started trying to balance everything a little better, and that helps some. Most of all, as far as being, good time management, my kids are good at telling me when, we need to take a little break, take a vacation, go play around the golf, and just do some family time. And of course, more than anything, I'd say my wife just she keeps me grounded and on track and focused on what's important. So,
very nice.
That's the best thing in the world is having a good partner.
Absolutely. Well, good. You managed to make it all happen. So that's good for you. I think this is a question that we're all thinking about, and I'm sure you're thinking about since you've entered the affiliate space. The U.S. market's changing a lot. There's going to be some new opportunities that are going to be arising, hopefully, for affiliates. What are you doing, Randy, to prepare for just being able to capitalize on the regulations happening in the U.S. for poker?
Well, right now, it's so up in the air, and I want to be optimistic that things are going to get regulated. And I really think when it is regulated, it's going to be regulated on a state level more than anything. I kind of hated to see what was coming out of Nevada with the whole affiliates having to pay a few grand. I know you guys did an interview with an affiliate that got that going.
Yeah.
And I hope that at some point the government, looks at trying to regulate everything, for the tax benefits for, Black Friday hurt a lot of Americans, a lot of companies, a lot of people, a lot of families. And I'm hoping eventually, the government and regulators will take notice of that. And I think the best thing we can all do is, try to be an advocate. The Poker Players Alliance, they do some good things, and a lot of people, gripe about them, and they're not super happy with them. But, you take the Poker Player Alliance out, we're really without a voice, on Capitol Hill. So I think supporting the Poker Players Alliance, supporting people that advocate, regulation. And I think people need to be careful not to get caught up in the hype. 4 years ago, 2008, people were saying, hey, poker players' best friend's going to be Barack Obama or whoever. And, I understand their logic behind that, but I don't think we can expect the federal government to really initiate a whole lot of change. So far, they've really hurt a lot of Americans with the Department of Justice seizures and things like that. They took a lot of money out of the American economy at a time it didn't need to be, that it was the worst possible time for it. So what I've been doing, personally, around, I live in Arkansas, and we have a state senator that lives nearby. She's a great lady. I've worked with, some other political figures in Arkansas, and I actually open up that discussion with them and say, hey, here's the big risks. The risks aren't, poker players losing their house or anything any more than they will at Tunica or Vegas or, downtown LA at the Commerce or something like that. That's not the big risk. The big risk is just, stifling people's, innovation and ingenuity. The internet is, I'd say it's easily taken over the world.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of businesses that rely on, the gaming industry as a whole, just like places like Vegas and stuff do. There's a whole ecosystem around that, from writers to, designers, consultants, marketing guys like myself, or companies like you that help, review some of these programs. Companies like, Jeremy's company, PAL, that helps kind of, connect affiliates with some of these operators, because there's a big disconnect. So I think the best thing we could all do is really just talk to people on a state level and try to just make the issues known, because you talk to a lot of people and they still think poker's totally illegal. It's some big underground smoky room, kind of thing. And really it's, some legit businesses. You and I personally know, people that run businesses overseas that employ, dozens, if not hundreds of people, throughout the world, not just operators, but affiliate companies.
Sure.
So, there's whole livelihood up in that for so many people. And, talking to my local state senator, or even just some of the city council people and things, they're blissfully unaware that so many people were affected a couple of years ago when Black Friday happened.
Yeah.
There's companies that were put out of business in the U.S. And, at a time in the middle of a recession, unemployment rates skyrocketing, national debt skyrocketing, why not try and find a way to regulate it, and I think it would really boost the economy in the end. It's not going to fix everything, But right now we're, every day, there's payment problems with players because there's rooms that aren't regulated. There's rooms that don't answer to anybody. Full tilt, we all know what happened there in UB and AP. There's a better way to do it, and while, what's going on now isn't perfect, I think it could be a lot better. And I just think people really need to just kind of educate people, educate players, educate everybody, especially at the state level. There's a bill right now in Arkansas to allow some land-based casinos. There's currently no casinos in Arkansas legally. Tunica, which is right below Memphis, a few hours from here, is the closest place we can go and legally gamble. And the Vegas casinos, the Tunica casinos keep suing these people. And this is one person wants to open up some poker rooms here in Arkansas.
Yeah, it seems there's a lot of money leaving the local economies, either on a state level or a federal level. I think that's absolutely true. There's the opportunities to make it to kind of make it a regulated market are really where everyone needs to focus. So is your intention to stay in the business as an affiliate once the market gets regulated, or are you intending on moving into other verticals?
Well, we work in other markets now. It kind of just depends how it goes. Right now, there's probably $20,000-$30,000, that's stuck in, whether it be Full Tilt or UB, AP, and, even some companies that are still operating, that I can't get my money being in the U.S. unless I open a bank account, give them a blood sample. Hell, I don't even know what I can do. They just come up with every excuse in the world that some of these operations need to be, shut down. And if it's ever truly regulated, they won't be able to operate like that. And, just imagine, whoever's watching this, if the U.S. market was regulated and what we do is, on the up and up, and, payments weren't an issue, expanding isn't an issue. How many more people could you employ? How many more sites could you build? How many designers could you put to work? How many writers could you put to work? There's so many benefits if we can just get past that hurdle. So,
well, it seems like a topic you're really passionate about, Randy, and I appreciate your insight and view on that. Just for time purposes, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. But it's been a great interview having you on here, Randy. And thanks a lot for all your insight, expertise, and tips that you've offered, new and seasoned affiliates alike. If anyone wants to get a hold of Randy after the interview, please send an email to interviews@casinoaffiliateprograms.com. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future interviews with industry leaders.